Okay, let's be honest. Most of you guys forgot there were more than 2 songs on the soundtrack.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's your boy Will, and I'm back again for another retro review. That's right, retro reviews are back. And this one is a popular one. So this might gain me a bunch of new subscribers, or I could lose some subscribers. I don't know. It depends on where your opinion lies. I am taking a look at 1995's A Goofy Movie. That's right, this is probably a millennial's cult classic of Disney movies. Because remember, the 90s in general were such a banner year for Disney animated movies. You got, Mulan, The Lion King, Aladdin came out, I believe, in the 90s as well. Beauty and the Beast came out in 91. I mean, it was such like a renaissance for Disney animation. And A Goofy Movie is just kind of there, but it's kind of also like the unsung gem that seems to be more popular now than it did back in the day. With a retro review, it's a little bit different than a normal quick review or spoiler review or whatever like that, because I'm just really kind of revisiting movies that I haven't seen in a very long time. And surprisingly, A Goofy Movie is one that I have not watched all the way through in a very long time. So I figured, let's take a look at it. In almost 40 years, how do my eyes perceive the gem that is A Goofy Movie? So before I start talking about the movie, I just want to say thank you so much for checking out this video. If you are new to the channel and this is your first video checking me out, thanks for stopping by and seeing what I'm doing. My name is Will, and I do geeky stuff on the internet. I do reviews, reactions, discussions, gaming, drinking, but it's usually all wrapped around geekiness. So if that happens to be your bag, why not subscribe to the channel? I'm on the road to 500 subscribers this year. I'd love to hit that goal, but it don't mean I'm going to stop if I don't. So, but if you would, and if you like it, maybe subscribe, maybe like the video, share it around the internet, that sort of thing. And, let's just talk about A Goofy Movie, because this one, I forgot a lot of stuff. All right, so for those of you who might not know, A Goofy Movie was an animated movie that came out in 1995 that starred Goofy, one of the classic 3 trio of Disney's powerhouses. Mickey, Donald, Goofy, the big 3, as you would call it. But this follows his story and also the story of his son, Max. That's right, Goofy has a kid, and his kid is embarrassed of his dad. The movie's really about them trying to bond as father and son as Max is getting older. He clearly doesn't want to be around his bumbling father, so to speak, and gets wrapped into going on a family vacation in the middle of him having his coming out party as being popular in school. And at the same token, manipulate his father to taking him to a Powerline concert for the biggest pop star in the world. That's the basics of the movie. It's a classic. It is honestly a classic, and I would even say a cult classic. I know a lot of people, a lot of millennials my age or younger, who this is probably one of their favorite Disney movies. I think it gets talked about more now than it did back in the day, because it really did kind of fly under the radar, because again, you're around the titans of the day. Your Beauty and the Beasts, your Lion Kings, your Aladdins, your Mulans. A Goofy Movie, I can't even remember if it actually got a theatrical release. I think it did, but I don't remember off the top of my head. One thing I did realize once revisiting the movie is that as we get older, I have a greater understanding of the characters in the movie and who you kind of gravitate towards more. As a kid, most kids would probably gravitate towards Max and his struggle of trying to, not be embarrassed by his father or be embarrassed by a parent. I mean, kids that at that time, especially at that age, because I want to say the movie takes place probably at the end of his junior year and he's going into his senior year, and he's trying to forge his own path and win the heart of the lovely Roxanne, which I'll talk about Roxanne in a little bit because I have theories about her in this movie. So the movie resonates for a lot of people of all ages, because again, when I was younger, I understood Max. As an adult watching this movie, Max is an asshole and treats his father like dog shit, which is messed up. I mean, Goofy is probably the purest being in this movie. There's a lot of people who do a lot of messed up things in this movie, and Goofy at the core is just trying to be a good dad. You know, he screws up, he bumbles around, but he just wants to connect with his son. And considering the fact that his son is older and he's finally realizing his son is growing up, he feels like he's missed out on a lot. Being a single dad, I can understand that. I'm not a single father. I'm a flaming homosexual. But I can understand from a single parent's perspective because I was raised by a single parent as well. So I get it. And as an adult, realizing that Max does some pretty messed up things, but Max is not necessarily super at fault. He is a victim of circumstance. They both kind of are. One of the biggest things, and I'll talk about more of the characters in just a second, but I would be remiss in talking about this movie without talking about Powerline, who is the star, the music maker in this movie. He has the two most popular songs in this movie. Like I joked at the beginning, I'm telling you, I'm sure a lot of people forgot that there were more songs on this soundtrack, on this movie, and I'm one of them because I still listen to Eye to Eye and Stand Out. Those are two, they're bangers. They're banger songs, and I will work out to those songs because they are fire. They are still good. He has an influence on the story, but he is just a background player to the story of a father and son, trying to just kind of bond and build on a relationship that clearly has been strained, not necessarily by strife, but just by one growing up and the other one not seeing that he's growing up. It is a very relatable story, and that's probably why this movie still resonates with a lot of people today. Granted, I think the music still plays a big part, but keep in mind, most people probably only remember the two songs, but there's still two amazing songs. The characters in this movie, and this movie in general, after revisiting it, it's got a lot of really potentially dark undertones in this entire movie. Case in point, Roxanne, you know, Max's love interest, I will be honest, and this might be a stretch, she is like the secret villain of the movie. Like, most people might think it's Pete, and we'll talk about Pete in a second, but Roxanne, a lot of this is kind of her fault. And again, not taking anything away from the character, she seems super sweet. However, the fact that both Roxanne and Max clearly like each other, and you can chalk that up to just being teenage angst that one doesn't want to approach the other. But Max's obsession with Roxanne is pretty, you know, absolute, where he is willing to lie and manipulate his father to keep a lie promise that he made to her about going to the Powerline concert. It's pretty crazy because that causes that temporary huge rift because Max betrays his father's trust in the movie in order to try to get him to go to LA instead of going to the fishing trip. But the whole reason Max lied, and if you remember, was that she didn't let him explain why he couldn't go to the party. Because he went to be honest.
I'm really looking forward to it, Max.
Yeah, I was too.
Was?
But before he could say that, or the reason why,
My dad's on this stupid father-son kick.
she immediately guilt trips him to be like,
Don't worry about it, Max. It's just a dumb party. No, Max, I
But
understand.
my dad
Really,
surprised
it's
me.
okay.
I don't
These
even
things
want to
happen.
go, but I have no
I'm
choice.
sure I can find someone else.
and then he has to make up this ridiculous lie.
My dad's taking me to the Powerline concert in LA.
When I saw that, I was like, wait, what? The whole plot of the movie rests on the fact that she did not give him 2 seconds to explain. It just seemed really weird and awkward. Like, what? It's not even that, because he didn't have to lie, girl. Why'd you do this? Why'd you do that? The other main antagonist of this movie, I will say, is Pete, who is Goofy's boss, or more boss. And, oh my god, I feel bad for PJ, who is Pete's son in the movie. Again, watching it when you're 12 compared to watching it when you're 38, it's a completely different perspective that this movie displays. Because, you know, PJ, who is Max's best friend, Pete's son, is terrified of his father. I fear that that kid is living in an abusive household. And we know it's abusive because Pete makes a point to convince Goofy to start treating Max more sternly and to basically put the fear of God in him, which does not sit well and doesn't work well. And Goofy, realizes that he has a way of bonding with Max without being that stern, that strict, that abusive. And you can see it in the scene where Goofy and Pete are at the hot tub at the motel, and Pete gets pissed because he sees that Goofy found a way that's not his and purposefully uses the information that he got by overhearing that Max changed the map to basically destroy that relationship. Yes, Max lied. That's Max's fault. But Pete intentionally threw that at Goofy to cause the clash in that relationship, which almost got both of them killed. That's the other thing. This is an animated movie, and I understand that. But as someone who's a lot older and has seen so many other movies now, I realize that this movie touches on a lot of subjects that I didn't think it would. Like, the concept of parenting and what style is better. Clearly, PJ needs to get taken away from Pete because that's an abusive he has him literally doing stuff, not just cleaning like his room or something, like instant, like almost servitude, which is terrifying. If you think about it as a darker tone, which is, again, it's a stretch, but hey, what am I going to sit there and say, like, oh, the movie's great? Yes, the movie's great, but these are just things that pop in my head because this is what happens because my mind just goes places. The movie touches on that sort of subject matter, and again, is Roxanne really the villain? No, but I just think it's funny that the whole premise of the movie hinges on the fact that she didn't allow him to explain something that would have taken 3 seconds. And it's a lot of movies, but this one just kind of seemed funny. Funny to me. The fact that, literally, they almost died because of the argument that they had. It's just crazy. Some of the best parts of the movie are Max and Goofy actually bonding as father and son, the Powerline concert when they're both on stage and dancing with them and singing. It is a fantastic song. It's an awesome performance for music that I'm surprised that has lasted this long. Granted, it's only 2 songs that have lasted as long. If you're someone who has watched a Goofy movie, I know there's a ton of people out there, if you honestly bop to any of the other songs, please tell me which ones that you do, because I'm curious, because I myself primarily gravitate to Eye and Stand Out, just because they're really great songs. But let me know if you bop to any of the other songs in this movie, because the movie itself, again, retro reviews, I'm not recommending. Most people have seen a Goofy movie. If you haven't seen it, it's worth a watch. It honestly is. Is it very 90s? Absolutely. Because you have a character who's one of Max's friends, kind of, because it doesn't seem like they're friends, but they are to a degree, who's voiced by Pauly Shore. And it's basically Pauly Shore animated. It's like this character could not exist anywhere else outside of this time frame in this movie at this point in time. I know they did a sequel, so he exists there too, but you get what I'm saying. Again, this movie, not directly, but indirectly touches on some pretty potentially dark subject matters that I honestly would not have pegged it to ever touch on. Besides the parenting situation, potential manipulation by one person to another, and the fact that I'm assuming at some point Goofy had somebody to have Max, because Max is Goofy's biological son. He is not adopted. Goofy has fucked. Yes, he has. Let's deal with it. Let's just move on. Did his wife die? Did she leave him? What happened? Potential stuff. I don't know if they were ever touched on in the sequel. Maybe I'll have to take a look at the sequel and find out. But overall, I've rambled about a Goofy movie enough. It is something that you should check out if you never have. I think it's a very underrated Disney movie. It's found more longevity over the last 10 years, I think. Because if you look at some of the ratings on the movie, it's very low compared to its other contemporaries. But I think it's a fun movie. It's got great music, and it's lasted this long, and I think it's enduring. as a story, and it's very relatable. It's just about a father trying to relate to his son, and that makes total sense. That is my retro review of a Goofy movie. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. What other Disney characters do you think have fucked? Let me know those in the comments down below as well. Thank you so much for checking out this video. I really do appreciate it. Hopefully you did enjoy this. Hopefully if you did enjoy this, you would consider subscribing to the channel. Help a brother get to 500 subscribers. I would really appreciate it. I've got a ton of videos on this channel right now that you're more than welcome to check out. I've got reviews for a lot of Disney Plus series that have been going on the last 2 years, and you can check those out on the channel right now. You can follow me on a lot of different social media platforms listed at the end of this video. Like, share, subscribe, all that fun stuff. And as always, until next time, I will catch you later. Hey, thanks for watching this video. If you did like this video, why not give me a thumbs up and share it with your friends? You can subscribe to the channel by clicking on my gorgeous little face right over there. You can follow me on all the various social media platforms right below. And last but certainly not least, if you've got a few extra minutes, why not check out one of the lovely videos floating right over here. Later.